This is the complete schematic of this instrument. This is the classic architecture. It is very close to one of my previous instruments. This was the N1 indicator on the same family of instruments. There are different blocks on this schematic diagram. On the top right of the page here we have the servo control loop. The DC motor is represented here. On the left here we have the frequency to voltage converter. The input signal is here. On the bottom left of this page there is this specific circuit which permits to change a little bit the value displayed according to a DC voltage which should be applied on this terminal. On the bottom right here there is a circuit which permits to activate the flag here. Let's have a look on the servo control loop first. The error amplifier is here. As you can see, the output of this op-amp is not used. The signal is not sensed at the output, but on the current which flows on the power supply rails. When the output of this amplifier is positive, there is a positive current which flows from the positive power supply to the ground through this resistor, this one, and this one. In that case, if the current is high enough, this transistor will turn on, and this will permit to drive the motor in one direction. The current flows through the power supply, through this transistor, this resistor, and the motor. And it is the same when the output voltage is negative. In this case, the current will flow through the negative power supply rail, through this resistor, and returns to the ground. The input of this amplifier here is a virtual ground. The gain is defined by these resistors, this one, and these two resistors also. The motor will rotate in one direction or in another one, depending on the error current which flows into this resistor here. There are three inputs of this error amplifier. The first one is the measurement signal, which is present on this terminal, number 9 here. This voltage is negative. The second one is the feedback voltage of the potentiometer. So the feedback potentiometer is here. This potentiometer is linked, of course, to the motor through a reduction gear. The potentiometer is connected from the ground to a plus 5 volts power supply. This is the reference power supply actually. And the last input is here through this 10K resistor. So this permits a fine adjustment of the display according to an input voltage. On the bottom of this page, there is a circuit which permits to activate the flag. The activation of the flag depends actually on the current which flows on the error amplifier. In normal situation, after a given time, the output voltage of the error amplifier is 0. If it is not the case, there will be a current which flows into this line here, and there will be a voltage which will be present across this resistor of 100 ohms. This voltage is sensed using these two transistors. This transistor Q4 turns on if the voltage across this resistor is above 0.6 or 0.7 volts, and this transistor Q3 will turn on also if the emitter voltage is below minus 0.6 or 0.7 volts. In that case, this voltage will be close to ground, and this will deactivate the flag, which is here. Let's have a look on the input circuit. The input signal is present between these two pins of the rear connector, H and T. There is a transformer which permits to have a galvanic isolation between the input and the internal circuits of this instrument. So this permits to remove the possible common mode voltage. There are two Zener diodes back to back which permits to have a limiter. The secondary of this transformer is fed to this comparator, LM111. At that point, there is a square signal. This square signal is fed to this monostable. On the output of this monostable, there is a rectangular signal, and the duty cycle of this signal is proportional to the input frequency. So this rectangular signal is fed to a low-pass filter made with this resistor and this capacitor here. This signal is fed to this voltage follower. I don't know the reason of these resistors actually. Of course, this resistor is the sum of these two resistors in order to have a current bias cancellation. It is strange to find this 8.2 kilo ohms here in series. And also I don't to understand the reason of this 180 kilo ohms here, because it doesn't have any effect on the low pass filter here. So maybe another capacitor is missing here. And then the output of this buffer is fed to this inverting amplifier. The gain can be adjusted using this trimmer. And then this voltage is fed to the servo control loop. The last circuit here permits an adjustment of the display. So the output of this circuit is here. It is a DC voltage. It permits to change the indication on the display. There are two inputs which are available on the rear connector. One is here, it's an analog signal, and the second one is here. So this signal is fed to a comparator. So this one is a digital signal, 0 or something positive, depending on the threshold, which is small. You have 5 volt and 18 kilo ohms and 500 ohms more or less here. So this provides a division of 40, something like that. So we can expect a threshold of 100 millivolts or something like that at this point. The second voltage present on terminal L here is fed to this voltage follower. There is a resistor in series here because there is a capacitive load. So if this resistor doesn't exist, this op-amp would oscillate probably. And this voltage is fed to two comparators. The first comparator has a threshold of 3.2 volts approximately. The second one has a threshold of 2.1 volts here. If the input voltage here is below 2.1 volts or if it is above 3.2 volts, in this case, there is no effect. The output voltage here is 0 also. But if the input voltage here is between these two voltages, then at this output here, there will be a voltage which depends on the actual voltage present on terminal L. So I don't know the purpose of this circuit. This permits to have a fine adjustment of the display by adding a small offset.